I saw myself at one point becoming part of the earth, and then the mushrooms coming out of me and me becoming one with the mushrooms, and the connectedness of everything. And I felt my place within that, and it was very peaceful.
I heard somebody say that once, that like we have, like, our brain is like a mountain, and you ski down it, and eventually you create these pathways of thinking, and so every time you drop something on top of your brain, it rolls down those pathways you create. Mushrooms kind of sprinkle fresh powder, so there's no set pathway.
See, for BIPOC people, it's like the ground underneath the snow has been carved. And so for BIPOC folks, because the society, I believe to some extent, is crazy making for BIPOC people. Like certain parts about you or in certain ways you think, people are like, it's like kind of like systemic gaslighting. So the fresh snowfall thing's beautiful, but for BIPOC people, to me, the first level was the ground underneath the snow needs to just be leveled.
So how to take it safely? I think the important thing with that is setting intention and knowing what you're looking to do. And so for me, from a therapeutic standpoint, like I wouldn't go to a show for the first time that you're trying it. That would be too much stimulus. And so then you want to make sure that you're mellow and you're safe by making sure that your environment is controlled.
Especially as a person of color, I'm aware how hard, how unsafe it can feel. Like, for example, my first group journey was with 15 white people and me. And I was lucky that the medicine didn't take me into the difference between us. It took me into the commonalities across us. But I did have a trip with a similar group of people, and the experience was actually almost the exact same group, and the experience was all about difference.
Make sure your mind is okay. Don't be worrying about, whatever you bring into the experience, it's going to be amplified. Any experience that doesn't sit well with you, also, don't get too caught up into, that happened and it's going to be like that every time, because it also always depends on your mindset, the environment, the intention. So as long as you start controlling that, you'll be okay.
I feel as a woman, if you've never worked with the plant before, if you don't know that healer and you don't know that shaman, like some people just pick a center and go there and it's a male shaman. I don't recommend that. I would recommend, especially if the woman's already has safety issues around men, always choose a female curandera, a female shaman. For women that have maybe had trauma in the past and don't feel safe around men, that could trigger another trauma response. If they're in the medicine with men that they don't feel safe with, then they're not going to feel safe on the medicine. The plants teach you discernment and your intuition. If you get a horrible feeling when you meet someone who's serving the medicine, don't drink with them.
So one thing with spiritual medicine, especially with psilocybin mushrooms, in a lot of nature-based cultures and indigenous cultures, when medicine women and men use it, these healers who use it, we have to respect the plant. And in respecting the plant, you have to know like what your limits are and being responsible with that medicine.
Home always is a safe space. So like if the areas that I create gets too overwhelming, I know I can go lay in my bedroom, or I can go take a bath, or there are other options to where if it gets to be too much, well, watching a movie, it's super easy for me to turn that movie off and put on something else or listen to some music. So it's very controllable.
Try to hum or sing along, because a lot of times in ceremonies that I'm in, most of the time spent singing songs. And that, to me, has been an incredible tool, but also I feel like it's more than a tool. That's not really capturing a vibration that we need to step into with our voices and opening up that ability to share.
From an integration standpoint, I definitely tend to write. When I was in therapy, I would talk to my therapist about it. I've had a seated meditation practice for 13 or 14 years, so that definitely helps. There have been moments where the message was so clear and the integration was life.
On psychedelics, I always come back to that lesson of that oneness and just like community, and I definitely try and take that and put that in my life, and I try and make community wherever I find it, whether it be, you know, with my recoveries and my recovery business or with the people that I party with at Red Rocks. I just try and find that all the little things are connected, and like even throughout my days, like just it's all the little moments that add up, and like I didn't realize that before at all.
One of the things that my elders have not only showed me, but I myself have experienced, that the medicine is a catalyst to these experiences, to having maybe rebuilding of our neural pathways. But one of the main medicines of the whole thing is the community. And how do we relate to each other? And how do we build those relationships after having these experiences and being up all night maybe with each other? How do you walk those prayers? How do those, and this is how I define integration work, is putting feet on your prayers. And all those experiences, and when you have them and you come back and you're like, oh, I want to do this, and I want to, you know, this is how I want to be, and this is something that I'm coming back with from these experiences. How do we put feet on those?